Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about Power Rangers Super Samurai. He ain't heavy metal, he's my brother. So this is a Mia-centered episode, and the title is funny because it's an actual song sung by another band. Now, when it comes to that of Power Rangers Samurai, I gotta confess once again, I am not the hugest fan of this season. In fact, I don't like this season. I went into this season thinking it's gonna be one thing and how things were gonna turn out, and it just turned out to be completely different. I never understood the whole Bulk and Spike thing. That was just a tie-in to Mighty Morphin. This is when Saban bought back the company, and everybody thought he was gonna do great, but he floundered big time. And in fact, since Samurai is one of my least favorite seasons, I don't even have a favorite ranger, to tell you the truth. Like, it's really hard for me to find one that I think is like really cool. However, Antonio does have a nice suit, but I don't like Antonio. And stuff. And even with Ninja Steel, I don't like that season, but at least I have a favorite ranger in that. But here, sadly, I don't. It's just, I don't know, this season just feels blah and everything to me. And the problem with the writing in this season is that it's very, very heavily based on this Sentai to the point where they really don't change that much up. And one thing I've noticed when it comes to character development, it lacks big time in character development with some of these characters. It's just, I don't know, it's just like on some episodes you assume that, okay, this person, like this episode in particular, Mia has a problem with her brother being in a rock band when she wants him to be like a doctor. And she comes to the realization towards the end, like a typical story does, but not in the way you think she would. And if it was better written, it would have made her character more stronger in this episode instead of coming off hypocritical and also just a little vain and stuff. And that's the problem with like when I did that one episode on, I don't even want to know the Yellow Ranger's name anymore. Like I told you, man, I'm not for this season. But I did a video about the Yellow Ranger for Women's History Month, and her episode was very odd as well. And it was hard because this show did not write good character development and stuff. Unless, of course, I guess it was the Red Ranger and his sister and, the problems he's going through and like stuff like that. But other than that, like this show really lacks in its writing development for its characters and stuff. And I just find that so uninteresting. That's one reason I don't like this season. But anyways, Mia, the only thing I know about her is she can't cook. She's the Pink Ranger, and I guess she has like a nice personality, but I've only watched this season one time in its entirety, so I'm not really like familiar and stuff. I remember when I saw her cast as the Pink Ranger, I was like, oh wow, like she's Asian and she's the Pink Ranger. We haven't had a Asian Pink Ranger since Cassie from like, the Fox Kids era from In Space and Turbo. And she kind of resembles Cassie just slightly a little bit. And what's funny is that Cassie had a centered music episode and she has a centered music episode and they both sing. But like one reason why, the lack of Pink Rangers is because, in the Disney era, they really didn't have that many and stuff. And I don't think Rhoda, I don't know what Rhoda really is from Operation Overdrive. I don't know if she's Asian or Hispanic or like what. But she was the Pink Ranger in Operation Overdrive. She might be both. I'm not really 100% sure. But back to this season. So Samurai is a samurai themed season. And once again, the Red Ranger is white. Not even Asian. That's so weird. But there's two Red Rangers. They're siblings, brother and sister, and they're both white. And this is weird. Like, this season should have had an Asian Red Ranger. It's an Asian martial arts themed season. Like, I don't get that. And this isn't the first time that has happened. I just don't understand that. Anyway, so in this episode, we see two of the Rangers practicing and we see one waking up. And then the one who woke up, he hears music playing. Nobody else could hear this music playing for some bizarre reason. And so, like, they go outside and there's a guy playing the guitar. And they ask who he is, and he tells them, he's Mia's brother. They're shocked and surprised. They didn't even know she had a brother. It's like, dude, y'all been like living with this girl and fighting alongside this girl, and y'all ain't talk about family and nothing like that. But yeah, so, and then not only that, but they didn't realize he could play music. So he's going to volunteer at a hospital, but he also wants to rock out. Basically, he has aspirations of being both, you know what I'm saying? But he's more heavily influenced in this episode as being a singer. And I remember when the actor who plays her brother started talking, I'm like, why does he sound Australian? I'm like, oh wait, that's because because they film in New Zealand. And they bring along a lot of like New Zealand and Australian like stars and stuff. And so, because there's a lot of Asian people actually in Australia and New Zealand, but a lot of people don't know that. And so like, and Britain too. And Ireland, and when it comes to Ireland, man, you really don't know nothing about Ireland. You always assume everybody's white, but then, every once in a while, you'll see like a black person or an Asian person. It's like, whoa, where you come from? Because they don't even advertise, they don't even promote them in their shows and movies that much and stuff. And so, like, Antonio, he's just like all like happy knowing that this dude's like, in the music and stuff like that when he later finds out in the episode. Well, basically Mia's not there and she's off getting groceries and he makes a joke about how like, she can't cook. That's like the thing about her, like the recurring gag is she can't cook. And so like, this is funny because we've never had a ranger who was like that. But it's interesting, and I like that. Like, it's something different. And so it takes her a good while to even show up in her focused episode and stuff. So, like, when they're out and about, they tell Antonio, and he's all thrilled and happy. It's the person in music. But then, of course, there's like a monster attack. So the Rangers, they're there fighting. And I don't know if she joins in the fight or not. If she does, I think she comes in much, much later into the fight. But anyway, they're no match for the monster and he escapes. Now, a little side plot is Bulk and Spike. They see there's like a concert type thing. They want to show off their musical skills and Bulk is a little upset talking about this whole samurai thing for them is not working out. It's a weird side plot. Like these two don't even really interact with the Rangers that much. And so like Spike sees Mia and he's like floored by her and he has a huge crush on her. And this is reminiscent of his father, Skull, who had a huge crush on the Pink Ranger, Kimberly. And so, because this is very Mighty Morphin based and stuff like that. So anyway, when she finds out her brother's in town, she's not thrilled because he's going to that concert thing. And the reason why is because her and her parents want him to be something better than a musician. They want him to be a doctor. Now, her brother, he said that, they used to perform together when they was little. Like, he would rock out on the guitar, she would sing, but then she became a Power Ranger. And in this season, your Power Ranger powers are passed down from, like, parent to sibling and stuff, or parent to child. And so, when it was time for her to take up, like, the samurai, she became a ranger and she just forgot about music and stuff like that. I don't know what her other goals were, but apparently cooking's not that. And the whole thing about her and her parents not wanting him to be like do music and want him to be a doctor, this is very, very, very common in like Asian culture. One thing that people always bring up when it comes to Asian people, or like, you know, like the ones that have been like Americanized, is that their parents don't like the path they've gone on. Like someone want to be like actors, someone wants to be singers, models, this and that. But their parents would rather for them to hit the books and do something better, like be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a scientist, a teacher, something like that. Because from what my understanding is in Asian culture, they really, really appreciate, like, you know, education and being better and stuff like that and being smart. And so you see this in a lot of television shows that have like an Asian character, you know, their parents don't want them to do this and that because it's not worthwhile to them. And so she's just like dwelling on that the entire like episode, and they kind of get into it a little bit and stuff like that, talking about how like you should be like a doctor and blah blah stuff like that. Well, at some point she has flashbacks of like her singing and stuff like that, and so the monster attacks, they morph and everything. And I do like how when the Rangers get their butt kicked, she comes in and she takes front of the stage and she starts whooping on the monster just a little bit. And she uses, I guess, the super samurai mode or whatever. And so that's neat because, you know, she's female, she gets to use that. Well, anyway, they have to call on the Zords because he goes big, and it's a huge combination of Zords. They just can't take these monsters down because he's like so tough and stuff. There's like 3 Megazords, all these different combination modes, and then they finally are able to defeat him. And so, like, when the Rangers, they're about to go to, like, you know, the concert, right? And she's still doing the whole, oh, I don't want to go and blah, 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 blah. And so it's kind of like, is she ever going to resolve this matter? Because it's getting towards the end of the episode. And so we do get the concert, and Antonio, he's with the band, he's going to play out. And he has a nice singing voice. I think he sings in real life. And so we see Mia show up, but then she shows up and she sings with the band, which surprises everybody. I don't know if that's actually her singing. And so then when she talks to her brother, she did not know that this concert was for charity and everything. And he asked, you know, why you been in such a funky mood and everything. And she said, I guess because she was like jealous because, you know, they used to sing and then she had to get that up to be a ranger. So it's kind of like, if that's the whole reason. I wish they would have implemented that earlier in the episode, showing that she's really, really jealous and stuff, and they could have hashed that out then and there. Because it was never really about her wanting him to be a doctor, and like, you know, and him like just wanting to be a singer because, you know, she was just jealous. But then the thing is about him that makes no sense is that he said that he actually does just want to be a doctor, but he just wants to do a part-time just playing music. And so it's just kind of like, it feels so uneven in the writing. She didn't learn a life lesson because it was mostly just her jealousy, but then when she saw that it was for charity, all of a sudden that like turned her around. But what does that have to do with anything if deep down inside she wants to do music and stuff? This is why I feel like the writing is so uneven, and it makes these characters not all that worthwhile and everything. Plus, throughout the entire episode, it seems like he just wants to do music and that's it. And the whole hospital stuff is just what his parents and family wants him to do. But then it turns out that's what he wants to do as well. And it just makes no sense. It feels like a waste of an episode because you're told one thing and you assume one thing, but then something completely different happens. And this is why it's always been an uneven season for me. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.